I've always disliked cocky and arrogant players. He seems to be going more towards that direction, so when he isn't performing how he should be, there is less love for him. Well, if you've got the loud mouth, you should be able to handle the criticism that comes with. He's not the first world-class 18-year-old. He needs to do better. If he wasn't a Barca player, I'd hate him for this attitude. See, I'm a Barca fan, but I gotta say Yamal deserved the hate. Bro is young, but he needs to stop all this bullshit social media stuff. He's early in his career. He has a great future. Why spoil it? Prior to Euro 2024, Lamine Yamal was this highly talented young superstar at Barcelona with the potential of becoming one of the greatest footballers in the club's history. Then the Euros came around and his popularity absolutely exploded. This sensational 16-year-old was out there humiliating grown men. He was now in the mainstream and many had begun to label him the next Messi. Fast forward to over a year later and the positive reception has since grown mixed, with the media, rival fans and many overall football fans beginning to object to his antics. Many say he is arrogant, overrated, nonchalant and just talks too much. A stark contrast between him and the man he's been compared with throughout his short and ongoing career. Join me as we try to understand the current wave of hate Lamine Yamal has been going through, the reason for it and why he is a target. Yamal is one of the best young players in world football. He's playing for one of the best teams, playing in the biggest tournaments, playing alongside a lot of accomplished players and earning a wage most footballers will never attain. This means more eyes on him, more love, more gasps after every dribble, more likes after every post and more criticisms after every mistake, more hate for every transgression. He is on top of the mountain in world football and nothing signifies that more than the man he's being compared with, arguably the greatest player in history. Lionel Messi, famed for being one of, if not the best player in the history of the game, also started like Lamine. Although quite older when his popularity exploded, Messi was his era's young superstar. There was something special about watching a 5'7" man glide through his opponents so effortlessly and stamped his authority on the game that very often discarded his kind several decades earlier. Like Yamal, the world buzzed about Messi as they often did amidst a young player's rise to prominence. By the time the tiki-taka era began to bear fruit near instantaneous to its inception, Messi was the most famous player on the planet. Although famed for his otherworldly footballing abilities, the Argentine was also well known for something else: humility. Now of course, social media was not as prevalent during Messi's rise, as people who analyzed him like they were using a microscope did not have as much reach as they would have had today to spread their opinions. Messi was in no way perfect. In fairness, no one is. However, with Messi, most of the things that came out about him were positive. He was a media darling, quiet, shy, introverted. He was football's humble darling. There exists a desire to see young players be humble during their rise. They're typically expected to be nice, polite, happy to be there, and thankful for the opportunities they have been afforded. Not many teenagers are often deemed good enough by their manager to play in the high-pressure environments that is top-flight football. It requires immense faith in the player from the side of the manager, a luxury not many are often afforded. Being a teenager in football is often associated with innocence, since they are entering a space dominated by adults. Hence, when someone so much as slightly deviates from it, the reactions are anything but welcoming. Even though Yamal had slowly been making waves in La Liga, the Euros was when he was truly known. Amid Spain's crusade to tournament glory, the media endlessly reported on this 16-year-old wonder kid who was snapping ankles, twisting waists, and turning the eyes of almost every defender he came across. He was confident, but in a good way, the people thought. However, there were signs that Yamal might not be a perfect, innocent, and docile 16-year-old youngster who is just happy to be there and nothing else. One of the earlier instances was his encounter, for lack of a better word, with the France midfielder Rabiot during the Euro 2024 tournament. Ahead of the semi-final clash between France and Spain, the French midfielder was asked if the stage would be too big for Spain's 16-year-old winger. At the time, Yamal already had a tournament-high 3 assists heading into this heavyweight clash. Rabiot responded with, obviously, it could be difficult for him to deal with a semi-final in a big tournament. It's up to us to put pressure on him and take him out of his comfort zone. And to reach a final at the Euros, he needs to do more than he's done up until now. Most would think that there's nothing wrong with Rabiot's statement. He's saying something reasonable here. It's not far-fetched to believe that a semi-final stage in Europe's biggest continental tournament could indeed be viewed as a big one for a 16-year-old. He then goes on to say that they have to put pressure on him to take him out of his comfort zone, and that he needs to do more than he's done up until now if he wants to be in a final. Yamal would respond on Instagram with a message reading, "Move in silence, only speak when it's time to say checkmate." Safe to say, Yamal took that as a challenge to prove himself And so he did, scoring a beautiful goal during his side's 2-1 win over the World Cup finalists. Speak now, he gestured to the camera. During a news conference after the match, the winger was asked who that message was directed towards, and he replied with, "It was for the person who it was for. They will know it was for them." Now, I don't think Yamal doesn't have the right to feel the way he felt about Rabiot's comment, but it was so insignificant and inoffensive that it didn't warrant the kind of response he issued. What this did, despite being swept off in the euphoria of his team making it to the Euro final, was portraying him in the eyes of some as someone who perhaps views himself a little too highly. This would greatly influence the pattern of criticisms he would receive afterwards. In March of 2025, following the first leg of a Nations League quarter-final between Spain and the Netherlands, former Real Madrid player and Dutch national Rafael van der Vaart would suggest that Yamal's hype is getting to his head. Having achieved so much at 17 doesn't seem to take things not going his way very well. Yamal didn't seem to take kindly to facing Hato. "These are things I notice. I see things that are starting to bother me a little. Pants a little lower, not making much of an effort, slightly superficial gestures. That's when I think, if you're that young, you should be happy with every minute you play for Spain. No matter how good you are, at that age, you have to prove it every minute and in every game." In the second leg, Yamal scored in extra time, missed a penalty in the subsequent shootout, and his side still prevailed. 5-4 was the score, after which the teenager took to social media to post, "Pants down, a goal, missed penalty, and in the semi-finals, go Spain." He increasingly began to make a habit of making social media posts that were designed to provoke his opponents ahead of big matches. By now, it is clear to many that Yamal has a football personality akin to that of figures like Mourinho and Ibrahimovic.
To say this, we have top players, and I'm sorry, I'm a bit arrogant. We have a top manager. Again, please don't call me arrogant, because what I'm saying is true. I'm European champion, so I'm not one of the bottle. I think I'm a special one.
You described yourself on the pitch as believing you were a lion. Is that right?
I am a lion.
Who's the best striker in the Premier League right now?
English or foreigner?
Anyone you like?
I feel Lukaku is strong. Aguero is good. He's all round.
You didn't say yourself.
Lions, they don't compare themselves with humans.
Some fans love these kinds of personalities as they are often viewed as making the game interesting to watch. After all, football is not just about 90 minutes of 22 players kicking the ball about, but the story behind every kick and goal. The best stories tend to be packed with lots of drama, and everyone being reserved will do little to provide that atmosphere. This is where you need these types of figures, the kinds that would say things to provoke the opposition.
You said right now you're the best player in Major League Soccer. There's another player in Los Angeles, Carlos Vela. In this moment, he's got 19 goals, 12 assists, and his team is leading Major League Soccer. Do you still consider yourself the best player in Major League Soccer?
By far. Because if he's in his prime, how old is he?
Carlos Vela's 29.
29. He's playing in MLS and he's in his prime. When I was 29, where was I?
Yeah, you were in Europe.
Big difference.
Many, on the other hand, view them as arrogant.
Who can do the most push-ups in the team? Me.
The aforementioned examples such as Jose Mourinho and Zlatan Ibrahimovic are still widely respected in the footballing community, especially Jose, who through his antics went on to have the most legendary managerial feuds in Premier League history. However, doing this and still remaining respected is not an easy thing to pull off. People don't typically like provocative individuals, and it requires a certain level of charisma to pull off. Charisma is most efficient when people are in awe of a particular figure. In the realm of football, he retains this so long as he performs. Jose is a serial trophy winner, and Ibrahimovic was one of the best goal scorers of his time and was a player who starred in some of the biggest clubs on the planet. This is not to ignore the fact that these two were loathed during their time, despite their success.
What I did, the signal of close your mouth a little bit, was not for them.
Who was it for?
For the English press. Because they speak too much, because Chelsea lost 2 matches.
You don't get them what they want, they get crazy. And for me, it's no problem, because the next day they can write about me. But I don't care. I really don't care, because it makes me stronger. They need me to sell. I don't need them.
I'm not feeling the pressure, no. You cannot put pressure on me. No chance. No chance. I read a lot of times during this week that I have to prove a lot in English football. Sir Alex is the only one European champion in this country. Nobody else. So I have to prove what?
And that most of the love today is only in hindsight, after they are well past their prime or have retired. Football is a competitive sport. A player's first haters are going to be the supporters of the rival team, and with a profit-driven media machine, agendas are bound to be crafted to satisfy this feeling. The media storm is often extinguished when those figures are no longer prominent enough for people to care. Outspoken and extroverted players are easier to attack because they provide enough public material that can be wielded to satisfy various feelings, ranging from the harmless and useful ones to provide constructive criticisms to the malicious need spawned out of feelings of jealousy or even worse, prejudices such as racist and ageist. Also, since it's a term that's going to come up a few more times in the video, when I say media machine, I don't just mean the big media and broadcast companies. I'm also talking about the fan-run social media accounts or even general social media accounts of the average football fans who might be hoping to gain some clout through posts. Following his encounter with Rabiot, Yamal will shake tables after incidents such as joining up with the Spanish team during the Euro celebrations to chant a political slogan, Gibraltar is Spanish, greeting the royal family with a dab instead of a formal handshake after Barca won the Copa del Rey, during the celebrations of which he wore his shirt back to front and had 2 pairs of sunglasses on his head. There was also a perceived disrespect from him to his manager Hansi Flick after being subbed off during a match. He was visibly upset and required his teammates to calm down. One of his most famous quote-unquote transgressions happened in the most recent Nations League final. The final was between Spain and Portugal and was already branded beforehand as Lamine Yamal versus Cristiano Ronaldo. Before the match, Yamal made a social media post in which he implied he was born to do this. During the match, a clip of Yamal angrily protesting Ronaldo lying on the ground in discomfort went viral. However, the main talking point would occur after the match. Portugal won, and while everyone on the Spain team or connected to it stayed behind to applaud the champions, Yamal was the first person to leave the field. An issue was also taken with the handshake he gave Ronaldo, during which he appeared to be looking away or ignoring him. The argument from Yamal's fans is often centered on him being young, and of course they are right, nobody is perfect. However, this age is precisely the thing that drives his critics crazy. Some saying his age should not be used to justify his actions. He isn't the first teenager to play top-flight football, and many have been well behaved. His qualities, technique, vision, power, intelligence, and his movements are unique. The only thing he needs to improve is his mentality. Right now, everything is going well for him, but if something negative happens, there will be many waiting to bring him down. We'll see how he reacts. Yamal needs to be careful with his communication and social media management. Sometimes a touch of arrogance comes across. In the past, great footballers tend to be quite shy. Some were arrogant, yes, but they back it up with their play. The problem arises when the results aren't there. He's still very young, and his brilliance is due in part to pure talent. Maturity will come. The player who's on the pitch should grow off it as well. Being young and famous comes with its own perks and disadvantages. Many will praise you, the media will gush over you and push you as the poster child for young success. The reality is that the fascination being generated by young famous people comes with an expectation of innocence, an expectation to be humble. They are expected to be role models for their young impressionable fans who are no doubt seeking to emulate what they see them do. Young famous people are expected to uphold standards that their teenage minds are sometimes adverse to. Some conform due to being intimidated by the weight of it all, that is, that they don't want to deal with all the media storm and drama that comes with doing the opposite, while some either don't even realize the weight of it all or just don't care, hence are less willing to conform. Yamal falls into the category of the latter. He has no problem expressing himself in however which way he likes, without adding filters to it. Teenagers tend to have a lot of flaws, which getting famous puts them at risk of amplifying. This is why many are often coached on what not to say and what not to do, for the reason of keeping their reputation palatable and attract as minimal negative press as possible. They are typically watchful about what they do in the public eye. However, even if Yamal on a personal level tried, he still will not be able to escape the shadow of his father, as he is not the only one in the family that is a magnet to certain types of publicities. Munir Nasrawi. The event which led to his introduction to most fans was when he posted this very famous picture and when he was a victim of a stabbing incident, both events taking place in the summer of 2024. He has since gained prominence for his controversial takes, weird social media posts such as one in which he revealed having a mannequin of his son, and more recently, his relationship choices. Munir Nasrawi, who divorced Sheila Ebana, Yamal's mother, in 2010, 3 years after their son's birth, has been a prominent figure in Yamal's career. And unfortunately, he is no better in terms of his ability to not attract controversies. Yamal's father talks too much and is often the center of attention. Regarding the famous picture of Messi and baby Yamal, it became a thing with the fans who joked that Messi transferred his powers to Yamal. Munir, however, would joke that it was in fact Yamal that blessed Messi. He would also claim that his son Yamal was going to become better than Messi, not saying this couldn't happen, but Messi is such a high bar that saying this with so much confidence would make anyone appear crazy. Not even the fans of Mbappe and Haaland, who have been touting their rivalry as the next Messi versus Ronaldo, has been brazen enough to say that these two will surpass them in overall football dominance. There are reports, according to journalist Romain Molina, that have stated Yamal's father was reportedly frustrated with Barcelona for not supporting his son enough in the 2025 Ballon d'Or campaign. Sources close to the team have claimed that he directly confronted club executives, accusing them of favoring Rafinha in the club's media strategy, despite Yamal's outstanding performances throughout the season. Munir is also said to have demanded special privileges for his son, which has reportedly led to fractures in the dressing room, as players have been reportedly unhappy about the youngster's quote-unquote untouchable status at the club. Some have even voiced discomfort over the club's acceptance of unusual requests, including the use of private jets and PR campaigns centered solely around the young winger. Yamal's father is kind of a mixed bag. On one hand, he is deeply supportive of his son and truly cares for him, as every good father should, and on the other hand, he is what the media machine loves, someone whose actions are bound to make headlines. He attracts controversies to himself because he uses social media quite recklessly, and also due to his strange personality. Concerns is said to be growing in the circles of the club's higher-ups about Munir's influence on Lamine's career, his social media exploit, and the things he says in interviews. I think this is the biggest, I won't say theft, but moral damage done to a human being, because I believe Lamine Yamal is the best player in the world by far, by a huge margin. Nasraoui, who attended Monday's Ballon d'Or gala in Paris, told El Chiringuito TV after the event, "It's not because he's my son, but because he's the best player in the world. I believe there are no rivals. Lamine is Lamine Yamal. Something very strange has happened here. Next year, there will be a Spanish Ballon d'Or winner." While it's nice to see him supporting his son, few can argue Dembele was the well-deserved winner. Many in the club itself are reported to have had this conversation with the youngster, citing a worry of his father being a bad influence on him. The situation has reached a point where it's openly discussed in the locker room. Sources close to the club claim that Laporta and Deco have held private talks with the player, urging him to remain focused and cautious. According to several executives, the issue isn't Lamine's talent, widely regarded as one of the greatest prodigies of recent years, but rather his family environment. Instead of serving as a stabilizing influence, his father has become a constant media presence, even defending some of the youngster's most controversial behaviors. This attitude worries the club, as Yamal is still in an emotional and professional development state. At just 18, he carries the weight of being Barcelona's new number 10 and the great hope of Spanish football. One of the incidents that is said to have raised that alarm for Barcelona was in Croatia, when he was spotted engaging in a helicopter ride with Argentine singer Nicki Nicole when the club expected him to be in Barcelona. There are also examples of things his father said being unnecessarily blown out of proportion. For example, when a viral video of Munir wearing a Real Madrid jersey and waving the club's flag at the Santiago Bernabeu in 2022 at a Clásico resurfaced, he responded with, "Even if I supported Madrid before, I don't care. Barca is the one that feeds me." It was made to seem like what he said was controversial, almost like they were forcing it to be seen like an issue, when in reality it isn't. Fair play, he was honest. Also, there are many examples of players supporting a club's rival before becoming a part of it. Jamie Carragher was an Everton fan, but he's known today as a Liverpool legend. Vinicius Jr. was a Barcelona fan, but today plays for Real Madrid. He's also had to deal with comments deriding him for getting his finances from his son. There are many out there who say nonsense. They say, "Why don't you go to work? You live off your son." I'm going to say one thing. Gentlemen, thank you, son. I will always be grateful. I will live off you. The change in perception for Yamal from the summer of 2024 to the summer of 2025 was drastic. Aside from becoming more prominent from his on-field performances, his lavish lifestyle, ostentatious display of wealth, luxury, and girls had increased to levels that drew hate from his haters and even concern from those who support him. Football fans know all too well how many world-class potential have been wasted due to this kind of lifestyle. One of the major talking points regarding him in the summer was his 18th birthday party. According to the digital lifestyle magazine Vanitatis, Yamal chose an Italian mafia theme for the party, and all the guests, over 200 friends, artists, influencers and footballers, dressed in black or white to match the style. Players such as Lewandowski, Gavi and Rafinha were there, along with musicians including Bizarrap, Quevedo, Bad Girl, Lula Indigo and Chimbala, and popular streamers such as The Gref and Ibai Llanos. The party featured live performances, a cocktail bar area, gourmet catering, and a cake decorated with chocolate pistols and wads of banknotes. Some media gathered at the entrance of the venue, which had a security presence inside. A group of people with dwarfism was filmed entering into the party, which has sparked the controversy. The ADEE and the Director General of the Rights of Persons with Disabilities in Spain's Ministry of Social Rights, Jesus Martín Blanco's concern, as stated by the latter, was whether the entertainment for Yamal's party was being facilitated at the expense of the dignity of people with disabilities. Jesus Martín told Spanish news agency EFE via Cadena Ser that he was concerned that a guy who has so many followers, an influencer for young people, is throwing this kind of party that can have a knock-on effect on young people. We are concerned that people with money, people with power think they can get away with it, he added. The law is for everyone, for the humble and for the powerful. However, one of the entertainers would speak to Catalan radio RAC1 to voice out their perspective. "We're only asking they let us work," the person said. "We have our own contracts, we're normal people, self-employed, and do everything legally. I don't know why there's so much noise right now." What the association is doing now is discrediting our work as professionals. We do this job because we want to. Nobody's forcing us to. We like to be artists, but we've been dedicating to this for a long time. And over the last 2 or 3 years, we've experienced more noise or question around our job. Nobody from the association has reached us, and with all this criticism, what they are doing is screwing with our job. They don't offer solutions either. We always agree with our clients that if we see one single sign of disrespect towards our activity, the show ends. I've never experienced a lack of respect of that type while working so far. There were 4 of us in the party. In the show that we offer, we go to the place and dance with the people. We deliver shots and drinks around the place. We do magic tricks. We entertain and try to make people have a fun time. As usual, the reactions were mixed. Some were critical of his actions, while some believed it was all blown out of proportion. Some people are of the opinion that if he limits his talking, that all this hate will go away. Maybe. But he doesn't seem to be fazed by it. He relishes it, the trash talking and all. When asked during an interview back in April 2025 if he cared that some in the media were branding him as arrogant, after he said Real Madrid can't handle Barcelona this season, he said, "While I'm winning, they can't say anything. When they beat me, they can." In November 2025, Real Madrid beat Barcelona 2-1 in a spectacular Clásico, and the floodgates opened. It was brutal. Prior to the Clásico, Yamal made some comments about Real Madrid's method of winning, which didn't go down too well with Los Blancos supporters. Yes, they rob, they complain, they do things. Last time I went to the Bernabeu, we won 0-4. This comment angered a lot of people and kept many behinds in seats watching the Clásico and hoping he failed. Every single touch of the ball he had during the match was booed. On topic of him relishing the trash talk, as Petit noted, there are a lot of people who want to see him fail. The reality is that it is way worse than that. He talked trash ahead of the Clásico, he didn't deliver and got clowned on. It would have been okay if that's all that happened. However, reports have shown that Lamine Yamal is the most racially abused player online. It puts into perspective the fuel behind some of the hate he receives, and that not everyone who criticizes him does so without malicious intentions. The legit constructive criticisms he receives is slowly being drowned by a sea of pure intent hate, and it's worrying. Whether he is arrogant or selfish is subjective, as I have been made to understand through the mixed reactions he often gets. Some people like his trash talk, saying it makes the game interesting, while some dislike his attitude. But there is one thing both sides cannot deny: he is one hell of a footballer.